Welcome back to the SolarPunkPro podcast. I'm James Manzer, and today I'm going to tell you something that will change how you think about the clean energy job market forever. Your city's economic development office? Yeah, they say there are 847 clean energy jobs in your metro area. Well, guess what? The real number is 4,200, and they're not lying. They're just using a classification system designed in the 1970s. They can't see the energy revolution happening right in front of them. So if you want to go from a soul-crushing corporate work to a career that actually matters, pays well, stick around and learn how you too can become part of the $4 trillion, that's trillion with a T, a year Electrify Everything and Power with Renewable Energy industry. Now, podcast statistics say that if you're listening to this, there's a good chance you're thinking, James, that sounds great, but not where I live. Well, maybe you've looked at some job board that showed 3 solar installer positions in your entire state, or your economic development website talks about emerging clean energy opportunities, while listing the same 5 companies from 2019. If that sounds familiar, you're in the right place, because today I'm going to show you how the methodology I use to create industry analyses that reveal hidden job markets, expose why certain cities are hiring energy professionals faster than they can train them, and teach you how to position yourself where renewable energy companies are competing for talent instead of talent competing for jobs. By the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly how to find the opportunities your local government doesn't want you to know about and why they're hiding them in the first place. Let's get started with a real example that will make you furious about how this system actually works. I recently completed an industry analysis for someone in Northville, Michigan, basically suburban Detroit. According to the Michigan Economic Development Office, the Detroit metro area has emerging opportunities in clean energy with about 1,200 existing jobs. Here's what I found when we dug in deeper. Southeast Michigan is experiencing the largest electrification boom in American history. We're talking major investments in EV manufacturing, grid upgrades, and energy storage. Michigan passed a 100% clean energy electricity mandate by 2040. Billions of dollars are flowing in from infrastructure and workforce development. But here's where it gets interesting. When I started mapping actual job openings, I found companies like DTE Energy hiring for utility scale solar and storage projects, Strawberry Solar looking for residential installers, Empowered Electric, Krieger Electric, Wolverine Power Systems, all actively recruiting. And the IBEW, local number 58 in Detroit, has active waitlists because they cannot keep up with demand. The real number isn't 1,200 jobs. It's well over 5,000 direct clean energy jobs, with another 3,000 in related electrical and construction work that is being driven by electrification. So, why the massive discrepancy? Because of how governments classify jobs. Solar installers, they get counted as general construction workers. Energy storage engineers are listed as electrical technicians. Wind turbine maintenance becomes mechanical repair. Electric vehicle charging techs are classified as automotive service. It's like trying to count software developers, but only looking for people with the job title computer operator. And here's the really insidious part, because this isn't an accident. Economic development offices, they have relationships with traditional industries, automotive, manufacturing, fossil fuels, that have been their bread and butter for decades. Clean energy, that threatens those relationships. When Ford is your biggest employer and you start talking about how solar and battery jobs are growing faster than automotive jobs, well, Ford starts asking uncomfortable questions about your priorities. So they undercount clean energy jobs while overcounting traditional manufacturing. They'll count every person who touches a car as part of the automotive job, while solar installers who work for electrical contractors do not even register as energy workers. Here's what they can't hide: the actual companies hiring, the actual projects being built, and the actual salaries being paid. When the IBEW Local 58 has a waitlist for apprenticeships, when Rosendin Electric is offering $25 plus per hour for electrical laborers, when transmission line contractors like MYR Group and Quanta Services are on big hiring pushes, that's real economic activity that doesn't show up in official statistics. Let me give you another example that proves this pattern exists everywhere, not just those obvious places like Detroit. I did analysis for a military veteran in Oklahoma City. Now, most people think of Oklahoma as oil and gas country, right? What they don't know is that Oklahoma is number 3 in the US for wind energy, and they are rising fast in utility scale solar. Here's the crazy part: over 45% of Oklahoma's electricity already comes from renewables. Construction of transmission lines, battery storage sites, and large solar farms, that is accelerating. And this is all under the Southwest Power Pool. The state is literally ahead of most of the country on clean energy development. But when you look at the Oklahoma City Economic Development website, you'll find maybe 3 paragraphs about renewable energy buried under emerging industries. Meanwhile, companies like Blattner, Mortensen, and McCarthy are hiring solar farm laborers for piling crews. Rosendin Electric is offering on-site mentorship for electrical laborers, doing trenching, conduit, and racking work, often paying over $25 an hour. And now Green Power and Invenergy are training wind turbine techs. Tesla, Nextera, they are building battery storage installations. These aren't future jobs. These are companies hiring right now, with starting wages anywhere from $20 to $40 per hour, and many have veteran preference programs. But here's what makes this a goldmine. Most people don't even know these opportunities exist, so there's much less competition. While everyone's fighting over the 3 solar installer jobs listed on Indeed, there are dozens of companies actively recruiting for positions they don't even post publicly. Or take Sumter, South Carolina. According to the official statistics, South Carolina, the entire state, added over 1,500 clean energy jobs last year. Sounds pretty modest, right? But when you look at what's actually happening, the region, it has strong solar potential and is home to major employers like Palmetto Solar, Renewable Energy, and SoFab. These are companies that are actively hiring veterans for entry-level and mid-tier field positions, solar installers, electrical apprentices, and field service technicians earning $20 to $40 per hour with steady full-time work and paths to licensing. Employers like Goodco Solar, Samuel Knight, Renew, Sunrun, and SoFab are all hiring right now in South Carolina region and prioritize veteran applications. The pattern is the same everywhere. Official statistics that wildly undercount opportunities, while real companies are desperately hiring and can't find enough qualified people. And here's the beautiful part about secondary markets like Oklahoma or Sumter. You get the same job opportunities and similar pay scales as major metros with lower costs of living and less competition. It's geographic arbitrage in the fastest growing industry in America. Remember, you want to install a solar panel, you gotta live where you install that solar panel. You can't outsource this stuff. So, how do you find these hidden opportunities? Let me teach you the methodology I use to create these industry analyses, because this is information you can gather yourself. First, ignore the economic development websites completely. They are 6 months to 2 years behind reality. Instead, start with utility scale project announcements. Every time a utility company announces a new solar farm or battery storage facility, that represents 50 to 200 construction jobs, plus 5 to 15 permanent operations jobs. Track these announcements through industry publications like Solar Power World, Utility Drive, or even local business journals. Second, follow the federal money. The Department of Energy, it publishes data on where all this funding is flowing. When a region gets $50 million for grid modernization, that creates immediate demand for electrical workers, project managers, and system integrators. Third, track manufacturing announcements. When SoFab, who is a major solar panel manufacturer, they announce a solar panel manufacturing facility, or when Ford builds an electric vehicle plant, that creates massive downstream demand for charging infrastructure, electrical upgrades, and energy storage systems. Fourth, monitor union activity. This is the secret sauce that most people miss. When IBEW Local 58 in Detroit has active waitlists, when Electrical Workers Local 340 in Sacramento starts advertising apprenticeship programs, when the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers launches recruitment drives, that tells you exactly where the demand is. Fifth, look for veteran-focused hiring programs. Companies like Blattner, Black & Vetek, and IEA, they have specific veteran entry programs for renewables. When these programs expand to new regions, that is a leading indicator for massive job growth. And here's the advanced technique. Follow the executive moves. When a senior project manager leaves Tesla to join a regional solar installer, or when a transmission line specialist leaves Quanta Services to start a regional operation, they're following an opportunity that hasn't become public yet. This intelligence gathering takes maybe 2 hours per month, but it gives you 6 months to a year advance notice of where opportunities are emerging. While everyone else is responding to job postings, you're positioning yourself well ahead of the curve. Now, let's talk about something most career advisors won't tell you. Location can be your biggest career accelerator or your biggest limitation, but not in the way you think. Everyone assumes you need to move to California or Texas to work in clean energy. It's actually backwards. Those markets are saturated with people who have had the same idea. That isn't to say there are not real opportunities in those markets, but it is to say that there are real opportunities in unexpected places where infrastructure is being built faster than talent can be developed. Take Michigan, for example. I mentioned it earlier. Electrical apprenticeships starting at $18 to $24 per hour, with companies like Empowered Electric offering direct hire pathways. But here's the kicker. Many of these positions include training, benefits, and paths to licensingship without requiring you to start your own business. Compare that to California, where you're competing with Stanford engineering graduates for entry-level positions and housing costs that eat up any salary advantage. Or look at Oklahoma, where wind turbine techs can start at $30 to $40 an hour. Your housing costs are 60% lower than coastal markets, and companies like NL Green Power will train you on the job. That's $35 per hour in Oklahoma City. That has the same purchasing power as $55 an hour in San Francisco. And here is where it gets really interesting. Remote work opportunities in distributed energy. Companies like Tesla, Sunrun, Enphase, they need technical sales specialists, system designers, project coordinators who can work remotely but serve regional markets. You could live in a low-cost area while earning wages from a high-cost company. Energy management software companies are hiring remote developers, data analysts, and customer success managers at anywhere between $80,000 to $150,000 annually. These companies do not care where you live. They care that you understand energy systems and can communicate with technical customers. And here's the geographic arbitrage people miss. Position yourself in a secondary market that's about to explode, then leverage that early experience to move on up and move on out with premium credentials. For example, someone who spends 2 years installing battery storage systems in Oklahoma will have experience that is incredibly valuable when they decide to move to a larger market or transition into project management. The early movers in secondary markets often become the senior staff when those markets mature. While people in saturated markets are fighting for promotions, people in emerging markets are getting promoted because there's nobody else with their experience level. I got my start in Maine, secondary market. But you have to be strategic which secondary markets you choose. Look for places with strong state incentives, federal investment, and existing industrial infrastructure. Avoid places that are dependent on a single employer or a single project. The sweet spot is markets like the Research Triangle in North Carolina, the Greater Charleston area in South Carolina, or Interstate 35 corridor from Austin to Kansas City. These regions have diversified economies, good educational infrastructure, and state policies that support clean energy development. Now, I'd like to teach you how to read these signals that predict where these opportunities are emerging before they become obvious to everyone else. Signal number 1, transmission line announcements. Regional transmission organizations are announced when there are new transmission projects. That will create immediate demand for specialized electrical workers. These projects take 2 to 5 years to complete and require hundreds of workers. Follow companies like MYR Group, Quanta Services, and Michaels Corporation. When they announce new regional offices or major contract wins, they're hiring immediately. Signal number 2, data centers. These getting developed. Every new data center is going to require massive electrical infrastructure, backup power systems, and often on-site renewable energy. When Microsoft announces a data center in Iowa, or when Amazon Web Services expands in Virginia, that creates energy storage and electrical jobs for years. Signal number 3, manufacturing facility location announcements. When battery manufacturers like LG Energy announce U.S. facilities, when solar panel companies like First Solar expand production, when electric vehicle companies like Rivian or Lucid build plants, each facility creates thousands of direct jobs and tens of thousands of related jobs. But here's the advanced signal most people miss: pre-development activity. Land purchases by renewable energy developers, environmental impact studies for utility scale projects, permitting applications for transmission lines. These activities happen many years, 3, 4, 5 years before construction begins, and 3 to 5 years before operation jobs become available. You can track this through county planning commission meetings, environmental review documents, and utility regulatory filings. It sounds boring, but this intelligence tells you exactly where to position yourself for opportunities that don't officially exist yet. Signal number 4, educational program expansion. When community college starts offering solar technician certificates, when trade schools add battery storage training, when universities launch energy management programs, that is institutional recognition that job demand is outpacing the supply. Greenville Technical College, for example, in South Carolina, is offering solar PV certificates approved for GI Bill benefits. Midlands Technical College has renewable energy technician programs. These programs exist because employers are demanding trained workers faster than they can train them internally. And signal number 5, union apprenticeship expansion. When electrical unions start advertising apprenticeship openings, when they launch recruitment drives, when they partner with renewable energy companies for specialized training, that's the clearest possible signal of massive demand. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers does not expand apprenticeship programs unless they have multi-year commitments from employers who need workers. Here's what I want you to understand. These signals, they are publicly available, but most people don't know how to read them or where to look. The information exists, but you have to actively gather it instead of waiting for it to show up on a job board. All right, so here is your action plan for becoming your own market intelligence operation. First, pick your target geography. If you're not willing to relocate, that's okay. Focus on your current metro area plus 50 to 100 mile radius. If you are willing to relocate, identify 3 to 5 regions with strong fundamentals, state renewable energy mandates, federal investment in existing industrial infrastructure. And while you're at it, might as well make it somewhere with a reasonable cost of living. Second, set up your information gathering system. Spend 30 minutes every Friday tracking project announcements, company hiring announcements, union activity, and federal funding flows. A Google alert will help you do this. This isn't a one-time research project. It is ongoing market intelligence that gives you a systematic advantage. Third, start building relationships. Start building relationships. Start building relationships well before you need them. Find the local IPW office. Attend renewable energy meetups. Connect with hiring managers at companies you've identified through your research. Network, network, network. Most clean energy hiring, it happens through relationships, not job postings. This is true with all jobs. It happens through relationships, not job postings. Fourth, create your own industry analysis. Document everything you learn about your local market. Companies, projects, salary ranges, hiring patterns. This becomes your personal competitive intelligence that you can use in interviews and your networking conversations. Fifth, position yourself for the opportunities you've identified. If your research and interest shows battery storage jobs growing in your region, start learning about energy storage technology. Sheesh, if only there was a masterclass teaching folks everything from energy and electricity basics to building science, energy efficiency, electrification, renewable energy, storage, project development, and installation basics. Say someone who can provide coaching as you navigate these classes and helps you step by step as you navigate the industry, who has contacts in hundreds of companies in every state, Puerto Rico, Mexico, and Canada, Europe, Australia, and around the African continent. If only there was somebody that could help you with this. But seriously, that is why we created the SolarPunkPro Masterclass and coaching program, to connect all these dots. Because here's what most people miss. Market intelligence, it isn't just about finding opportunities, it's about understanding opportunities before other people do, positioning yourself before competition intensifies, and building expertise that matches where demand is heading before where it's been. The renewable energy industry is creating thousands of jobs every month. The people who do this research, who build these relationships, who position themselves strategically, they don't just find jobs, they find careers with clear advancement paths, strong compensation, and meaningful work. Meanwhile, people who rely on job boards and economic development websites are fighting over yesterday's opportunities in markets that everybody already knows about. So, which approach do you think is going to build you the career you actually want? Look, I know this might sound like a lot of work, and honestly, it is more work than just browsing Indeed on your phone and hoping something good shows up. But here's what I want you to understand. This research phase is temporary, but the career advantages it creates, that is permanent. Spend 2 months doing serious market intelligence and you'll have insights that most people never develop. You'll know which companies are growing, which regions are exploding, and which skills are actually in demand. That intelligence, it doesn't just help you find your first opportunity to clean energy, it helps you navigate your entire career with strategic advantage. If you want help doing this analysis for your specific region, I offer free 30-minute industry analysis calls where I'll walk you through the methodology with you and help you identify the hidden opportunities in your area. If you want to book a call with me and you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and click the QR code. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast player, the links are in the show notes. Find me on Instagram or LinkedIn. I read every message, so if you want to share what you discover about your local market or ask a question about the research process, reach out. Remember, we are here for a good time, not a long time. If you're going to spend 40 plus hours a week working, it might as well be in a career where you have a systematic competitive advantage instead of hoping you get lucky with your job search. The clean energy market, it is massive. It's growing exponentially, and most people have no idea how to access it strategically. Well, now you do. I'm James Manzer. This has been the SolarPunkPro podcast, and I'll see you next week when we dive into what the SolarPunkPro movement is really all about and why understanding it might be the key to building the career and community you actually want. See you there.